Today, we will discuss only two topics, like the Nirvanic features of the Pure Land and its inhabitants, according to the larger sutra. And then we'll discuss the lifespan of Amida Buddha and the enlightened beings in his Pure Land, also according to the larger sutra. Then next time, we will have a big topic, which is the primal vow of Amida Buddha. And I would like to discuss that topic in a single session.
Yes.
That will be focused only on that topic, on the primal vow, because it's a very detailed explanation. We at Amidaji do a very detailed explanation. Yeah.
Yes, it's like 100 pages. So I have to summarize 100 pages in 2 hours, maybe. It will be
I want us and other people that attend the meeting to discuss it also together. Okay,
yes.
So now we'll go to the Nirvanic features of the Pure Land and its inhabitants according to the larger sutra.
Okay, excellent. This will be the topic number 26.
Yeah.
The Nirvanic features of the Pure Land and its inhabitants according to the larger sutra. This can be found in Jodo Sensei's commentary on the larger sutra on page 310 or 310. So let's go there to page 310, and this will be the explanation.
Sections 14 to 21.
Yes, this will be the explanations of sections 14 to 21. Yes, on page 310. Okay, so before we should explain some basic ideas. So this summary, the Jodo Sensei starts asking why Shakyamuni Buddha spent so much energy describing the Pure Land in such a lively manner, no, with the enthusiastic expressions when he was talking about the Pure Land. And basically, there are two basic reasons, no, two main reasons. First, that is that he wanted us to know, to confirm that the Pure Land of Amida Buddha exists and it is supreme among all the realms of the Buddhas. Yes, that is the first reason. And the second reason is that we sentient beings, we should all aspire to be born there in order to attain Buddhahood. Yes, the two very simple and important ideas. Okay, so he wanted us to go there. No? So the example that Jodo Sensei constantly uses, and is very useful, is that imagine that I want you to go to a park, a beautiful park. Okay, so if I want you to go to a beautiful park, then I will try to describe it. Yes, I want I want you to know exactly where it is located, all the beautiful things that you will find there. Yes, I will give you a precise address. Yes, I will tell you all my testimony, my experience when I went there, so that you want to go there. Yes, so it is very important for us to understand that Shakyamuni Buddha was very precise when he was talking about the Pure Land, because he wanted us to be born there, and that is what is the reason why the Pure Land is described in such a lively fashion. You see all the jewel trees, the aromas that you will experience in the Pure Land. How are the different adornments? You know, the lakes, you know, the water that you will find there, the lights, even the ground is described in detail, the lotus flowers, the skills of inhabitants there. So Shakyamuni Buddha is spending lots of time, yes, especially in these sections from 14 to 21, describing what is the atmosphere in the Pure Land, yes, and what are the characteristics of the beings who are living in the Pure Land. So that is the reason. And another thing to take into consideration is that the 5 senses in samsara are different to the experiences that you will have in the Pure Land. Everything here in samsara, yes, is an expression of the 3 poisons of ignorance, greed, and anger. Yes. And it is the expression of the different karmic conditions of the 6 realms of samsaric existence. So everything that we touch, everything that we smell, everything that we see in samsara leads to more delusion. yes, and leads to more suffering, yes, whereas all we experience in the Pure Land leads to enlightenment, because it itself is the expression of the enlightenment of the Amida Buddha, yes. So everything is a manifestation of enlightenment. So therefore, if it is a manifestation of enlightenment, then it will lead you to enlightenment, yes. It's cause and effect, no? Simple law of karma, yes. Everything that comes from an enlightened mind leads you to enlightenment, yes. Whereas everything that comes from samsaric minds, yes, remember that samsara is emanated or it is a dream, yes, or a collective dream of all the different sentient beings that inhabit samsara. Okay, so what we, and this is a very important teaching in Buddhism, everything that we find in the different realms of existence corresponds to the level of consciousness and to the specific karma of the sentient beings that inhabit that realm, because that realm is actually an emanation of the consciousness, of the state of consciousness of those beings. Yes, in the Pure Land, everyone there is enlightened, especially in the center of the Pure Land. Yes, we will talk about later on in future topics of discussion about the borderland. But the center of the Pure Land, or the true fulfilled land, where Amida Buddha dwells and where everybody is enlightened, according to Shinran Shonin, yes, actually we can read that in the sutras. We will see that everyone there is engaging in Dharma activities for the sake of sentient beings. They are also celebrating the different aspects of Buddha nature, which are joyous and blissful. You see? So it is a constant celebration in the Pure Land, as we will see. And I will quote passages of the sutras. Another aspect is that in the different elements of samsara, yes, as Shakyamuni Buddha taught in the sutras, the 6 elements, like air, water, fire, and earth, yes, in samsara also correspond to different levels of disasters. Yes, for example, here in samsara we have air, yes, but air can quickly turn into a tornado or turn in a storm. Water can become tsunamis that can destroy and kill people. Yes, fire, for example, a volcano erupting. Yes, there are many instances of even in our tiny human world, we see that in the past many cities have been destroyed by fires and by volcanoes. Yes, many civilizations, even according to some historians, have been destroyed by fire. And earth, we have earthquakes. So everything in samsara, all of these elements, yes, since they are the expression of the unenlightened or the ignorance of of sentient beings, then all of these elements have these disadvantages, yes, and these obstacles that are presented to sentient beings. Yes, in the Pure Land is exactly the opposite, because air in this case is always beneficial. Yes, it will always lead you to enlightenment. It preaches the Dharma. The birds, everything that you experience, yes, there, everything that you hear, yes, is an expression of Amida Buddha's enlightenment. Yes, instead of fire, you find there beautiful lights that calm your mind and that are actually an expression of enlightenment. The water also preaches the Dharma. It's always engaging in preaching the Dharma. So everything in the Pure Land is a spiritual treasure. This is very important for us to understand. That is the difference between a Pure Land and a samsaric heaven or samsaric celestial realm. Yes, because in celestial realms they are kind of beautiful as well, but this beauty is not preaching the Dharma, but it's only pleasing the senses and actually intoxicating the minds of the gods. Yes, in the case of the Pure Land, when you go there, everything there is beautiful, but it is also an emanation of Amida Buddha's enlightened mind. So therefore, the purpose of these spiritual treasures is to preach the Dharma. Yes, because they are the expression of Amida Buddha's enlightenment and perfect wisdom and compassion. Okay, so it's very important for us to understand that all the elements of the Pure Land, even the very earth, is soft. Yes, everything there is in accordance to beings' wishes, in the sense that everything there is tailored to bring sentient beings to enlightenment. Yes, everything there is an expression of the compassion of Amida Buddha. So therefore, everything that is beautiful, everything there is perfect, everything that is permanent, yes, is blissful. Whereas in samsara, everything is not the self, not the true self. Everything here leads to suffering, and everything here is impermanent, which are the three characteristics of samsaric phenomena. So now we'll try to quote the sutras, since we have a little bit more time to discuss this question at length. I will quote now the larger sutra. Yes. The Shakyamuni Buddha says, speaking about the jewel trees of the Pure Land, he says, these jewel trees are in parallel rows. Their trunks are evenly spaced. Their branches are in level layers. Their leaves are symmetrical. Their flowers harmonize, and their fruits are well arranged. The brilliant colors of these trees are so luxuriant that it is impossible to see them all. When a fresh breeze wafts through them, exquisite sounds of the pentatonic scales, will be music, such as gong and shang, spontaneously arise and make symphonic music. Yes? So here Josho Sensei explains something that is very important, is that everything there in the Pure Land is also quite harmonious. Yes, why? Is because Amida Buddha's mind is harmonious, and the enlightened qualities are also harmonious and joyous. What we find in samsara is the opposite of harmony, which is chaos. Yes, there is lots of chaos in samsara. Yes, beings die and are reborn. Things engage in the 10 evil actions. They don't know where to go. They don't have supernatural powers, so they don't know the law of karma. And as Shakyamuni Buddha explains in the larger sutra, he says that beings who die, they don't know the karmic causes and conditions which will lead them to further rebirth in the 6 realms of samsara. So they are completely blind. You could compare this to a person who is being tortured but doesn't know what is happening, you know, and it's also in the dark. They cannot see. Like, for example, Master Genshin says that we cannot even see through a simple sheet of paper. So our supernatural abilities are completely terrible. So we don't have any clairvoyance. So we don't know the things that are far from us. So we are completely ignorant and suffering in this cycle where we are completely clueless. Yes. Whereas in the Pure Land, as we will see, beings are in harmony. Yes, they are in harmony with the Buddha nature, and they know all their past lives. They know the past lives of others. Yes, and they are constantly engaging in Dharma activities. Yes, that are, of course, the noblest thing and the most useful thing that you can do for others, is to save them from samsara and to lead them to enlightenment. And especially in our case, since we want to be born in Amida's Pure Land, and we'll have Sambhogakaya bodies from the Pure Land, we will try our best to lead them to Amida Buddha's Pure Land, as all the other Buddhas, but we will have a particular auspicious connection with Amida Buddha, since we will attain enlightenment through his vow, his primal vow. Okay? As Josho Sensei says here in this beautiful passage, he says, Amida and the inhabitants of his Pure Land are reflected in the perfect beauty, symmetry, and harmony of that enlightened realm. Okay? So it's very important to understand that harmony is a very good word to use. For example, speaking
in contrast with the chaos, which belongs to samsara.
Yes, in contrast with the chaos, yes, that belongs to samsara, where, of course, not only samsara, but especially now in our Dharma ending age, Mapo, and also in this kalpa of decline of the 5 turbidities, or the 5 contaminations, where we will have lots of wars. We also have a diminution, very, very small lifespans, because according to the sutras, human beings used to live way more in the past, and our condition was a little bit better in the past. But we have lots of chaos.
Thousands of years.
Yes, hundreds of years, even thousands. So nowadays, what we see,
the past,
yes,
human beings in the past could live thousands of years.
Yes, so
in the long past.
Yes. Yes, Sensei, and of course, what we see nowadays, as Shakyamuni Buddha constantly says in the larger sutra, especially in the sections that between the 30th section and the 39th or 40th, he explains that actually, in this kalpa and in the dharma ending age, sentient beings will forget the dharma, and they also will engage in evil activities, and they will praise even evil. Yes. And remember that our human world is supposed to be one of the three higher realms, but in this kalpa of decline, we are not behaving not even behaving as human beings. And we see this in many countries and many societies which constantly praise evil and they praise perversity even. And this will, of course, lead them straight to the lower realm. So for the vast majority of human beings, it would be fair to say that they will be born in the three evil realms. Yes, because this is the karma that we are currently as a society cultivating. Okay, but of course the Pure Land, it is speaking about the body tree of Amida Buddha. Yes, the body tree of Shakyamuni Buddha, when he preached here in human form, is different. Yes, because he was preaching here in Samsara, but Amida Buddha has a body tree in his Sambhogakaya Pure Land, and this body tree is enormous. It is said that it is millions of kilometers long and wide, filled with many jewels, and all of these jewels are a blessing for many beings, for all the beings that are in the Pure Land, and also for other bodhisattvas who are not yet born in the Pure Land, but nevertheless they are in one of the 10 bhumis, and they have the capacities to visit the Pure Land, maybe mentally, or maybe they can see some features of the Pure Land, and they can also benefit in some way from these manifestations. And of course, they are drawn, or they are caused to wish to be born in the Pure Land, which is the objective of these manifestations. And we will see this in later examples, where many Buddhas are constantly encouraging the bodhisattvas of their own respective universes to be born in Amida's Pure Land. They say, okay, go to Amida Buddha's Pure Land, pay him a visit. And of course, they visit him and they say, I wish to be born there. Yes, everything is so beautiful. So all the adornments of the Pure Land are meant to be like a magnet to attract beings, with this splendor, so that they can reach enlightenment. And I will want to quote other passages of the sutra which are very beautiful as well. For example, talking about the breeze. No, remember I was telling you the breeze in the Pure Land. No, everything here we experience in samsara, all the breeze can turn into a tornado or a storm. For example, here in where I live, when we have the monsoon season here in the tropical countries, everything is a disaster. People lose their homes. Many people die. And this happens in Latin America. This happens also in Europe, I think, many floods. So water, of course, here in samsara is a different deal, but the water and the breeze in the Pure Land is an expression of enlightenment. So we see here, when a gentle breeze wafts through its branches and leaves, innumerable exquisite Dharma sounds arise, which spread far and wide, pervading all the other Buddha lands in the 10 directions. Those who hear the sound attain penetrating insight into dharmas and dwell in the stage of non-retrogression. Until they attain Buddhahood, their senses of hearing will remain clear and sharp, and they will not suffer from any pain or sickness. Whether they hear the sounds of the body tree, see its colors, smell its perfume, taste its flavors, perceive its lights, or conceive the Dharma in their minds, they all attain profoundly penetrating insight into dharmas, which is the dharmas with a small d would be phenomena, yeah, all phenomena. And dharma with a capital D would be the teaching of the Buddha. So in this case,
samsaric
dharma,
phenomena.
yeah.
With small d, samsaric phenomena, yes, illusory.
Yes, all of the phenomena. So until they attain Buddhahood, their 6 sense organs will remain sharp and clear, and they will not suffer from any pain or sickness. So this is very important to understand. This samsaric body that we currently inhabit, that we have, is an obstacle, because it is constantly aching. We can experience this on a daily basis even when we are like for example, now I am here sitting and I feel quite comfy, but but you will see that I will try to move because my body starts to hurt again, or my butt, or my legs. Yes, so our body is constantly aching, yes, here in samsara. But the bodies of beings in the Pure Land are an expression of bliss. So everything there is an expression of the bliss of enlightenment. Okay, so everything is cause and effect. Yes, our minds are afflicted, so therefore we inhabit bodies that are also afflictive. Yes, that they produce suffering because our mind is suffering as well as samsaric beings. Yes. Whereas in the Pure Land, beings have bodies, but these bodies are blissful, and these bodies serve the purpose of preaching the Buddha Dharma, yes, because they have perfect wisdom and compassion. So therefore, their bodies are naturally an expression of this enlightenment, or this wish to save other sentient beings, of the body-mind, yes. I will try to quote other passages here. For example, speaking about the beautiful body tree of Amida Buddha, yes, Shakyamuni Buddha explains, the body tree of Buddha Amida Buddha, is 4 million li in height and 5,000 johanas in circumference at its base. Yes, li is a Chinese, I think, it's what a battalion of men can walk during a day. So it would be, I think, like 20 kilometers, I think, each li. So 4 million li, so imagine that. So it's quite gigantic. I think one person that I know did the math, and it is like the size of a planet even. So it's quite big, yes. And Johannes is also an Indian measurement as well, yes. And it is somewhat similar. So the thing is that it's quite big, yes. Its branches, the branches of Amida Buddha's body tree, spread 200,000 li in each of the 4 directions. It is a natural cluster of all kinds of precious stones, and is adorned with the kings of jewels, namely moon-bright money gems and ocean-supporting wheel gems. Everywhere between its twigs hang jewel ornaments with all 1,000 million different colors intermingling in various ways, and their innumerable beams shine in the utmost brilliance. The body tree itself is covered with nets of rare, excellent gems, and on it appear all kinds of ornaments in accordance to one's wishes. Okay, so of course, the wishes of sentient beings in the Pure Land, the enlightened bodhisattvas, is to help all sentient beings. Yes, so we shouldn't misinterpret the Pure Land as like a vacation resort. Of course, it's beautiful and it's blissful. Yes, but the reason we go there is to attain enlightenment. And once beings attain enlightenment, it is said that they attain perfect compassion and perfect wisdom. So naturally, their desire is the same desire as Shakyamuni and Amida Buddha, is to manifest in all the 10 directions to save sentient beings. This is like the Buddha's, all the Buddha's eternal activity. Yes, and they enjoy it. It's not like they let's call it, they see they see it like a job. You see, oh yeah, I have to save sentient beings. No, they enjoy it. Yes, this is constantly explained in the hymns, yes, and in the sutras, that the joy of the bodhisattvas and the enlightened bodhisattvas and the Buddhas is to help sentient beings. That is why you see, when you see pictures of Buddhas, they are always smiling, yes, because they are enjoying themselves, and they play. Yes, it's like it's great fun for Buddhas to do this. And
it is called it is the activity of helping sentient beings after attaining enlightenment in the Pure Land is called playing in the fields and forests.
Ah, yes, playing in the fields and forests. This is the expression that I always try to remember. Thank you, Sensei. Yes, it's playing in the fields and forests. So for them, it's like a delightful, enlightenment play or something. But of course, the thing is that we see this joy, no, in the Pure Land, because the Pure Land is not an empty place. No, it's full with music, even dance. No, as Joshua Sensei explained to me, there are many tankas or Buddhist art showing people dancing, no? And that, like those that Master Shantao used to paint. Master Shantao was a great painter as well, no? A great artist. And there are many paintings of his that describe beings dancing in front of the bodhisattvas there, and all the bodhisattvas also playing music for Amida Buddha in gratitude, of course.
And the newborn are shown in a tanka in a Japanese painted tanka, the newborn are dancing and those in the Pure Land are singing in the instruments. And the newborn are dancing, everybody is dancing. It's a big joy, the joy of birth in the Pure Land.
Yes, as Master Genshin also explains in his Oyoyoshu and also in the larger sutra, of course, this is everywhere. You see that the joy of those born in the Pure Land, especially in the center of the Pure Land, it's beyond words to describe.
Our death is a joyful event. Even if we suffer when we die, death itself for us is actually a birth in the Pure Land. And it's a very joyful event. So when somebody leaves his body in the Pure Land, we should all rejoice that he became a Buddha. That is...
Yes, indeed, Sensei. Thank you for that. Yes, and as Master Shinran says, one of the joys of having faith in Amida Buddha, and I think he explained this in one of his letters. I would like to quote it, but I don't have now the quote. He says that joy is to rejoice in advance for what will surely come, you know? So when you are sure that you are going to Amida Buddha's Pure Land, then you can from time to time, as Jodo Sensei says, rejoice over the fact that you know where you are going after death. Yes, and actually many even so-called Buddhists, they don't have a clue or they don't care maybe what will happen to them after they die. And of course, this is very foolish. Yes, but if you have faith in Amida Buddha, and as Master Renyu constantly reminds us in his Ofumi or his letters, the greatest matter of all is the matter of the afterlife. Why? It's because this is the matter of eternity. Yes, if you lose this precious human body, then chances are that you will not encounter this chance in many eons, even, or many, who knows how many lives. But if you seize this opportunity and entrust yourself to Amida Buddha, then you will enjoy a blissful eternity in the Pure Land. Yeah, so this is very important for us to understand. I will now want to quote some other passages from the water. I explain a little bit of the music of the breeze there, also by the ripples of water in the ponds. So we'll see here, Shakyamuni Buddha says, the rippling water, yes, forms meandering streams which join and flow into each other. Their movement is peaceful and quiet, neither too fast nor too slow. And the ripples spontaneously produce innumerable wonderful sounds. One can hear whatever sounds one wishes. For example, some hear the sound of Buddha, some hear the sound Dharma, some Sangha, others hear tranquility, emptiness and no self, great compassion, paramita, 10 powers, fearlessness, special qualities, supernatural powers, non-activity, neither arising nor perishing, insight into the non-arising of all dharmas, and so on until the various sounds of the wonderful Dharma, such as the sprinkling of nectar upon the head of a bodhisattva, are reached. As one hears those sounds, one attains immeasurable joy and accords with the principles of purity, and absence of desires, extinction, and reality. Of course, extinction of blind passions. One is in harmony with the three treasures, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, the Buddha's powers, the fearlessnesses, and the special qualities, and also with supernatural powers and other methods of practice for bodhisattvas and suravakas. Okay, so I will now explain the qualities of the activities of the bodhisattvas there, but I wanted to end this explanation of the environment, yes, because everything in the environment is preaching the Dharma, yes, and this is very, very, very important to us. So we should also compare what we have in the Pure Land, what we have here in Samsara. And this is why we should be aspire to be born in the Pure Land, because everything that we hear in Samsara can lead us to more suffering and more ignorance. So everything that we hear in Samsara has the potential to produce suffering and to lead us even into the lower realms. Yes. For example, the speech of some, I don't know, crazy politician, or even some kinds of music that are very obscene. I don't know, the words of false teachers. There are many dangers in samsara, that actually can lead us to the lower realms, but everything in the Pure Land is exactly the opposite. It's actually an expression of enlightenment. Okay. I will now talk about a little bit about the beings there. And the activities of those who are in Amida Buddha's Pure Land. Another beautiful thing that happens in the Pure Land, and this has been expressed by Yosho Sensei, is that when we go to the Pure Land, we will have lots of gratitude for all the Buddhas that led us there. Yes, because remember that throughout many past lives, we have worshipped, and this is explained in the larger sutra, chances are that we were devotional towards many Buddhas. Yes. And this is explained by Shakyamuni Buddha that when beings go to the Pure Land, they go and they make flower offerings, not only to Amida Buddha, but they also go in many Nirmanakaya bodies, many emanations to other Pure Lands in the 10 directions, and they help as enlightened bodhisattvas, all the Buddhas in those lands, and they also go there and they venerate them and they go to make offerings. Yes, actually, one of the vows of Amida Buddha is related to this, that we have infinite offerings to go and offer those Buddhas. Let me find the passage here.
Until you find the passage, I would like to add that it's like going to visit our former teachers. You know, we had many teachers during countless of kalpas, and many of them were Buddhas, because actually all Buddhas guided us throughout the eons to this very life when we encountered Amida's primal vow and we were open enough to entrust to him. So Shinjin, the fact that we now have Shinjin is the working of Amida, of Shakyamuni, and all Buddhas. All Buddhas worked upon us, worked on us, so did many things for us, so that we came to this moment of Shinjin. Yes, this is why we will go to visit them. You know, it's like pupils, students become themselves teachers and then go to visit their teachers and say thank you.
Yes, yes. This is expressed here. I found first another passage. I'm pretty sure that I will go along with this section of your commentary.
Just imagine, just a second, Joshin, when you will become a Buddha and then you will meet with various Buddhas in their Pure Lands and they will say, oh, look, this is Joshin. Do you remember when you were my student in so-and-so life many eons ago? Do you remember this and that?
Yes, and the thing is, I know this is true. I know without a doubt this is true. This will be the case.
Yes. There will be a wonderful meeting with your former Buddha teachers, and you will all rejoice. Yes.
And one day I will come and I will thank you. I will go to Romania. I don't know when the hell that's going to be, but I will be there.
And one of the things that we'll do in the Pure Land is also to meet with everybody who we knew in our previous lives, and we will tell stories about the past and so on, and try to figure out many strategies to help all beings. You know, it will be very fun.
Yes.
Yes. Please, Kosho.
Okay,
sorry,
I found this passage here. Yes.
Please.
Speaking here of the inhabitants of the Pure Land, so that Buddha land, like the realm of unconditioned nirvana, says Shakyamuni, is pure and serene, resplendent and blissful. You know? So like unconditioned nirvana, that means that the Sambhogakaya land of Amida Buddha is of course an expression of nirvana. The Sravakas, bodhisattvas, heavenly beings, and humans there have lofty and brilliant wisdom and are masters of supernatural powers. But please remember, as Shakyamuni Buddha says, that they are all of one form. So their bodies are the same without any differences, but are called heavenly beings and humans simply by analogy with the states of existence in other worlds. So that means that they come from different backgrounds, of course. Some are arahats, some are ordinary beings like us, some are Tembumi bodhisattvas.
They were, yes, I mean, in their past life, prior to this, prior to their birth in the Pure Land, some of them were Shravakas, some of them were Arhats, some of them were humans or gods and so on.
Yes, some of them were humans, but not only from this world system, but from the 10 directions. Not humans from this world system, or maybe one deva. Maybe they were, I don't know, high-level bodhisattvas.
Some of them were following Hinayana, or they attained the enlightenment level of Hinayana. But they, in order to become Buddhas, perfect Buddhas, and attain Buddhahood, they turned to Amida for help, and they were born in the Pure Land as Buddhas. Yes.
Yes, so it's very important for us to understand this, because Shakyamuni Buddha is explaining, he himself, in his own words, not to cause confusion. Yes, he's talking about all of these beings by these names in analogy with their previous lives before birth in the Pure Land, but after they are born in the Pure Land, of course, they have the same Sambhogakaya body. Yes, because this is explained in the one of the first vows of Amida Buddha. They will have the bodies of perfect gold. Yes, so that means bodies of purity and bodies according to the vows of Amida Buddha.
And they attain the same enlightenment, the Buddha nature.
Yes.
Buddhahood, yes.
Yes, and of course, according to vow number 15, they have also the same lifespan of Amida Buddha. Yes, and the same qualities. That is, of course, infinite, the same lifespan, in the sense that it is a Sambhogakaya body. Okay, I will continue here. So they are of one form without any differences, but are called heavenly beings and humans simply by analogy with states of existence in other worlds. They are of noble and majestic continents, unequaled in all the worlds, and their appearance is superb, unmatched by any being heavenly or human. They are all endowed with bodies of naturalness, emptiness, and infinity. So what does that mean? That means Sambhogakaya, Dharmakaya, you know? Remember, Dharmakaya, Sambhogakaya, and Nirmanakaya are actually one. They are 1 and 3, and 3 and 1, okay? So it's very important for understand is that the Dharmakaya is the very essence of Amida Buddha's Pure Land, even though it manifests in different forms in Sambhogakaya and Nirmanakaya, but actually it's only one, yes, from one perspective, okay? So the Buddha land, like the realm of unconditioned nirvana, is pure and serene, resplendent and blissful, okay? Let me find the passage of the activities of the Bodhisattvas there. There is also a famous passage in which Shakyamuni Buddha compares the devas to beggars before a king. Yes, so even the devas, yes, if you compare the devas with the inhabitants of Amida Buddha's Pure Land, this will be like comparing like a great monarch or a great king to a beggar. So such is the difference between Amida Buddha's Pure Land and samsaric beings. Not even doesn't matter how powerful, even devas themselves.
And now imagine that some people nowadays, some deluded scholars, they say that the Pure Land is here and now.
No, I mean,
just imagine. But while Shakyamuni Buddha compares, when he compares the gods, the highest gods, with an inhabitant of the Pure Land, he says that gods look like beggars in comparison with those born in the Pure Land. So, and these guys, these deluded scholars, they think they are in the Pure Land here and now. But of course, they don't have body of naturalness or infinity. They don't have the capacity to the enlightened capacities that Shakyamuni Buddha speaks about those born in the Pure Land, and that Amida Buddha himself promised that those born in the Pure Land will have. See?
Sensei.
Yes, please.
If they truly were a Buddha, then they should stick their hand on the stove.
Yes,
and see
as
if they
I
burn.
often say, yes. But even that, you know, yes, that was like a joke. They should put their hand in the flame, and if they suffer, then that means they are still attached and they identify themselves with their bodies. See, but of course, many beings can perform miracles. To be in the Pure Land of Amida Buddha means even more than that. Means to know the previous states of all the previous lives of all beings in all places of existence, in all the 10 directions. means to be able to be in the same time in in an infinite places, you know, means, as Kosho explained, to be able, and as Amida Buddha promised, to be able to go in various pure lands of various Buddhas in the same time and make countless offerings. Of course they can't do that, you know.
Yes,
And yeah.
yes, and the beautiful thing is that I mean, going to the Pure Land is also returning, no? As Master Shinran said, is the benefit of going and coming. I wanted to, I found a passage of Shinran that is not exactly the one I was looking for, but this is also is very good. He says here in Hymns of the Pure Land, he says, those who reach the Pure Land of happiness return to this evil world of the defilements, where like the Buddha Shakyamuni, they benefit sentient beings without limit. Yes, so this is very important. Yes, so once beings are born in the Pure Land, they return here and they benefit all sentient beings or all the former
Yes.
your former lives. You have had many wives, you have had many children, and you have had also many friends, many enemies as well. So you have a lot of karmic debts. Yes, and you have also loved many people which we haven't been able to save. Yes, doesn't matter how much you love someone. If you cannot bring them to enlightenment, and then it would be like let's call it like imperfect love, yes, or imperfect compassion, imperfect link, yes.
Yes, and the person born in the Pure Land knows automatically knows all the thoughts of all beings in all the 10 directions, and he knows exactly what to do to help them. And that is very important. This is why we are not in the Pure Land here and now. The Pure Land is not here and now. Here and now is samsara with its countless limitations. And the Pure Land is where the Pure Land is, a manifestation of Amida Buddha outside of samsara. That's very important. Outside of our samsaric minds. That's very important. Yes.
I used to belong to a group called Second Life, and we would all have avatars and run around all these different magical computer generated places. And one of them was called Sukhavati. And we would have literal Pure Land ceremonies between some altar set up online. And part of it we would say, if we could get rid of our delusions, then this too would be the Pure Land of ultimate bliss and peace. And I'm just, as I get older, as I watch the body fade into nothing, I'm amazed that there are people that still cling. I guess it must be ego. They cling to the idea that they can save themselves. It doesn't even occur to me now. That would never occur to me at this point to try another path where I would have confidence that my merits would be enough to do anything, much less bring me to full enlightenment. But there are people who hold to this and actually criticize us, Jodo Shinshu, for not believing in our ability to bring ourselves to enlightenment.
Yes, Yoshin, I think people are quite deluded. Actually, in our case, we cannot even be born through our own merits, even in the higher realms of samsara. so don't speak even about the Pure Lands. We cannot even be born in heaven. We cannot even be born. Yes.
Yeah, the reason why they say like this, they speak like that, and think like that, is because they didn't receive Amida Buddha's light in their heart. They were not open towards the effect of Amida's light, because the effect of Amida's light, you know, Amida's light is constantly shining over all beings, but some are closed to this light, and so they cannot be illuminated by it. So the effect of being illuminated by Amida's light while you are still in samsara is that you know your limitations. You receive the wisdom of faith. That is the effect of Amida's light into your heart. As a person of faith, you receive the wisdom of faith, which has two aspects. Nishu Jinshin. you know exactly how you are. You know exactly your limitations. And you never say about yourself that you can be a spiritual person and attain enlightenment here and now. And you know that only Amida Buddha can save you. That's why they don't have faith and they can't be helped by Amida's light to
Yes.
see themselves as they really are. Yes.
They don't, maybe they also don't have, Sensei, the good from the past, as Renio said. Maybe they weren't devotional towards the Buddhas in their
Yes.
former lives.
That's why it's very difficult for them to become open and to accept the simple teaching of the primal vow. Yes, that's why.
Yes,
Sensei.
Sensei, what you said is absolutely
We are
true.
not saying this like we are special people. We are not special people. Actually, the effect of Amida's light is making us to be humble and realize our limitations. So we are not better than them. No, we are just people the lowest of the low, who know that we are the lowest of the low, and we know that we are not in the Pure Land now because we are the lowest of the low, and we know ourselves, and we know the teaching, and we accept the teaching. That's why. So it's due to Amida's influence on us that we know this, not because of a special wisdom that we have in us.
And all you said, Sensei, is absolutely true. Once you open yourself up to that light, you become aware of that light constantly, for lack of a better word. Even when I'm off in my delusions full force, there's always in the back of my mind, that's just speaking for me, this realization, this knowing that Amida's light surrounds me. And I'm always a part of that light because I've received that light. And we've had people accuse us of being cult members and you a cult leader. But the thing is, in order to be a cult leader, you have to believe that you are a god. You have to believe you're all these cult leaders, they're reincarnations of Sai Baba and Jesus and Einstein and all this other bullshit. We, like you said, once you receive that simple faith, you know where you stand. You know your limitations. You know what you can and cannot do. And so you don't make boastful claims about your greatness because you know you don't have any greatness to give.
Yes, we, they say we actually are very disciplined in matters of Buddha Dharma. We impose discipline in our Sangha in relation with listening to Amida Dharma and following Amida Dharma. This is what they confuse with cult-like mentality. They are actually people in chaos. They have spiritual chaos inside their heads, and they pretend to be something that they are not. They are not able to see themselves as they are. They are not able to accept the Dharma as it is. All they want is to impose their personal opinions and replace pick and choose from the Dharma what they like and replace from the Dharma what they don't like. So if you go to such a Sangha, a false Sangha like theirs, you will see chaos. We are more disciplined because we take the Dharma seriously, because we realize that the Dharma is the medicine given by the Buddha, and we are the sick patients. And as sick patients, we are very disciplined in following the instructions of the doctor, of the Buddhas. See, this is what we do. We accept that we are sick. We accept that we are limited. We accept that our minds cannot, don't have the capacity to change the Dharma. We don't consider ourselves to be owners of the medicine, owners of the Dharma. We don't think we are smarter than the Buddha so that we can change the Dharma. That's why we are more disciplined. And they confuse this discipline, which actually comes from devotion and from knowing our limitation. They confuse this discipline with cult-like mentality. This is how disturbed they are.
The funny thing is, they think that we are following you as our cult leader, when in reality, our guru is Amida Buddha.
Okay.
That is our only leader, is Amida Buddha.
Yes, but and look, we are not, Amidaji is not a one guy group. We already have four lay teachers. We will soon have another 2 ordained members. So we are constantly helping and instructing each other, and Amidaji will soon have more priests or monks and nuns and teachers. So Amidaji is a teamwork, a team effort. And sooner or later, I will die, go to the Pure Land, but others will come, you know. The reason why many organizations die nowadays is because they are centered around one person. And when that one person dies, then everything dies. But we are not like that. We are smarter than this. So we build our own leaders, our own teachers, so that Amidaji is like a being with many heads. This is why you will not be able to destroy Amidaji, because there are many heads inside in Amidaji. See?
Yes, and,
So,
and actually, we are only following Shakyamuni. Yes.
Yeah.
And
Yes,
this is very.
but the teacher is important, because the teacher, lay teacher or monk, they are important because they dedicate their lives to help their fellow beings follow the Dharma. But for example, if I die today, there are 4 lay teachers inside Amidaji, and there are many members of Amidaji who know the Dharma. So Amidaji will not die because it doesn't depend on one person. See? So,
yes, indeed. And actually, one of the things that I love about Yosho Sensei's books is that they are full of quotes. Yes, he's always referring to Shinran, always referring to Shakyamuni. So we don't have any wisdom of our own. Even if in the little book that I tried to write, there is always quotes from Shakyamuni, quotes from Shinran, because we are not the owners of the Dharma. We are only transmitters. We are only trying to simplify or maybe transmit. Okay, and this is very important, no? Okay, just returning to this topic, I wanted to share a beautiful passage that I found of Shakyamuni Buddha from the larger sutra, describing the noble activities of the enlightened bodhisattvas in the Pure Land. Shakyamuni Buddha says, these bodhisattvas, whether going or coming, proceeding or remaining, their hearts are unattached. Their acts are in accordance with their will and are unrestricted, and they have no thought of discrimination. In them, there is no idea of self or others, no idea of competition or dispute. With the heart of great compassion to benefit all living beings, and with tenderness and self-control, they bear no enmity or grudge against anyone. Free of mental hindrances, they are pure in mind and without indolence, unbiased, noble-minded, sincere, and tranquil. Their hearts can revere, appreciate, and enjoy the Dharma. Having extinguished all evil passions, they are free of those tendencies that cause one to fall into the evil realms. They have accomplished all the duties of a bodhisattva and are fully endowed with immeasurable virtues. Having reached deep meditation and gained supernatural powers, transcendent knowledge, and wisdom, they are established in the 7 practices leading to enlightenment and are devoted to the Buddha Dharma. Having destroyed the hindrance of the 3 defilements, they revel in using their supernatural abilities. They possess all the powers of cause, condition, will, vow, skillful means, continuity, good meditation, intelligence, and attentive hearing. The powers of generosity, precepts, patience, effort, concentration, and wisdom, which are the 6 paramitas, no? The power of right-mindedness, right contemplation, and supernatural faculties, and the power to train and guide beings in accordance with the Dharma. Okay, and so this is only a passage. Is longer than that, but we can see here that what are the activities of enlightened bodhisattvas in the Pure Land is to save sentient beings. Yes, to save sentient beings using all the supernatural powers that are mentioned here in the larger sutra, which is, for example, knowing all your past lives, knowing all the thoughts of all beings, and using all the karmic connections that we used to have in previous lives, in many, many eons in samsara, and we will be able to benefit all those we wronged, made mistakes with, and also those we used to love. Yes, so all of those beings were we will be able to benefit them from the Pure Land. Okay, and we will benefit them in accordance with their own capacities. I will try to. Another important thing that we see here is that these bodhisattvas, of course, they dwell in enlightenment. But remember that the fact that they dwell in enlightenment and they see, and it's mentioned here in the larger sutra, although these bodhisattvas observe with the eye of equality that the three worlds, samsara, are empty and non-existent, they strive to learn the Buddha Dharma and acquire varied eloquence to read living beings or to free them of affliction caused by the evil passions. So what this means is that even though they understand ultimate reality and they understand that everything is like a dream, they do understand that from the perspective of others that are not enlightened, they need to be saved from suffering, okay? This could be compared to someone who is in a nightmare, yes? Imagine your best friend is having a nightmare, yes? And you know that everything that he's imagining is only in his head. But however, this person is still suffering, yes? So remember that. So Buddhas know that everything in samsara is non-existent, but they don't deny that those who are not enlightened are indeed in need of being helped. So they understand the difference between ultimate reality and relative reality. And this is very important because some false teachers, they use the ultimate dharmakaya to say, oh yeah, no need to go to the Pure Land, no need to, don't bother with compassion, don't bother with morality. And of course, morality is important for self-power, yes. It's not important for us because we are ordinary evil beings, but for those who are walking the path of sages, if a false teacher tells you, oh, don't worry about going to the Pure Land, don't worry about morality, and they use this nihilistic emptiness to promote these wrong views, of course, that is quite evil. Yes. So, but true bodhisattvas or true enlightened beings, they know the difference between enlightenment and they know the difference between ultimate truth and relative truth. Yes. And this is very important. Actually, Shakyamuni, of course, understood this difference, and he taught in many sutras about karma, samsara. And he also spoke, for example, in the Diamond Sutra, about the quality of all, on the non-arising of all dharmas, but he understood the difference, yes? And in our case, and this is very, very important, in our case as Jodo Shinshu followers and as Pure Land Buddhists in general, we should understand that our path is happily dualistic in the sense that we are talking about forms, we're talking about beauty, we're talking about the name of a particular Buddha. We're talking about the Sambhogakaya body of Amida. So everything in our school is dualistic because that is the language in which Shakyamuni Buddha chose to speak of Amida Buddha. So that is the way we should follow it. So we shouldn't try to combine it with wrong understandings of non-duality. Yes, and actually this wrong understanding of non-duality.
Yes, the language of the larger sutra is both descriptive and dualistic. And we will understand everything that which is beyond the dualistic thinking, we'll understand in the Pure Land.
Yes, of course, we will leave non-duality for the Pure Land. For now, we just focus on the descriptions of Shakyamuni Buddha in the larger sutra.
Okay.
Yes, I feel that. I don't know. Yes, of course. Okay. Do you have something to add?
No,
there are many more passages that you can find.
Just a small note about precepts that you mentioned in Jodo. This is for our listeners. So in Jodo Shinshu, we do not deny the precepts. We do not deny that they exist and that they are there in the sutras. We just deny the fact that we in this last Dharma age can attain enlightenment through the precepts. That's what so we think we are incapable of following precepts, and we think that birth in the Pure Land comes only through Amida's power, and we can't actually contribute with something from our unenlightened personality. That's why.
Yes, indeed, Sensei. I mean, of course, we should understand that we try to lead good Buddhist lives as best as we can. Yes, but we don't think that that we are going to acquire transcendental merits that will lead us to enlightenment through the precepts. So precepts are important to us as general Mahayana Buddhists. But when it comes
precepts, to precepts show us. I can't find the word in English. Show us the ideal, the enlightened ideal, how we should be at the ideal level. And this is why we mention the moral precepts in the last fascicle of Amida Dharma, just to show the ideal of the Mahayana. And when we look to this ideal and to the precepts, and we compare ourselves with this ideal, then we realize that we can't follow this ideal, that we can't be like that. And we realize even more that we need Amida's helping hand. That's why. So this is why I often speak about precepts and make lists with precepts, so that we don't lie ourselves about our true capacities. Only when we see the precepts, the Mahayana precepts, only then we can realize how wretched beings we are. Because without reading about precepts, we might not know about this ideal, and we don't have something to which we can compare ourselves with. You see, that's important. Many modernists nowadays and many heretical Buddhists go so far as to change the Buddhist morality, so as to, and because they need to promote various types of worldly and sexual ideologies. This is why. And by doing this, they lower the standard of Buddhist morality. We don't lower the standard of Buddhist morality. We accept the high standard of Buddhist morality. We don't change it because we are wretched beings. We just humbly say that we can't follow it. And that for us, there is only Amida Buddha who can save us from ourselves. That is very important. This is why I fight against these modern ideologies who tend to hide Buddhist morality. You know, we don't hide it; we show it, so that people can know how wretched they are and how much they need Amida's helping hand. Because otherwise, they can't know. You see? Do you understand what I mean? Yeah.
Yes,
Sensei.
yes, indeed.
No, go ahead, Kosho. You spoke first.
No. Go ahead.
Okay. Sensei, do you think, since what it's going on with Jodo Shinshu, do you think it'll get worse and worse with people denying like morality and people like changing the sutras? Because anybody who's read the sutras, some people say, oh, the Pure Land is here and now, when clearly in the sutra, Shakyamuni doesn't say that. It's in the afterlife, and it's in a Pure Land far away from here. It's even stated that even Shinran said it's not in the here and now. So I don't understand what the heck these teachers are doing. I think it's going to get worse, but what do you think?
It's the sign of the times we live in. But the true Jodo Shinshu teaching, the true Amida Dharma, the true teaching of the primal vow will never die, because it will never die in this last Dharma age. Because it is supported by the power of the Buddhas. And Shakyamuni himself promised that after all the sutras will disappear, he will keep the larger sutra even more in this world. And in this last Dharma age, when various modern ideologies, worldly ideologies try to replace the Dharma, and when the capacities of beings are very low and actually non-existent, only the primal vow is the only path to liberation. So this is why no matter how many efforts the modernists will do to deny the existence of Amida Buddha in the Pure Land and to deny the basic teaching of Jodo Shinshu, they will not be successful, because the true teaching is supported by the power of the Buddhas. And Amidaji is a proof for this. I mean, the fact, and not only Amidaji, because Amidaji doesn't have the monopoly on the true teaching. We are just a Sangha who makes great effort in keeping the genuine pristine Jodo Shinshu teaching. But there are other people also in many Sanghas, even in various branches of Jodo Shinshu in Japan, who still have true faith, for whom Amida and the Pure Land are real. So they and us are living proofs of the supporting power of the Buddhas and of the truth that the true Jodo Shinshu Dharma will not die.
So you once, Sensei, told me about a man in the Jodo Shinshu hierarchy, I believe it was, who said he would like to, excuse me, see a more inclusive, ecumenically friendly version of Jodo Shinshu, where you have silent meditation and chants to other Buddhas and whatnot. Where do you think that's going to end up in the long run, that plan?
I don't know. I mean, you know, many people in present day temples, especially in USA, they are bored about Nembutsu. They don't understand how precious the Nembutsu is. And they are not satisfied with the requirements of the primal vow, where Amida said, entrust to me and say my name. So entrust only to me, say only my name, says Amida Buddha, and wish to go to my Pure Land. So they are not satisfied with Nembutsu only. And they are bored with Nembutsu because they don't have faith. So they need to do this and that, you know, and need to introduce this and that. And about that thing with becoming more friendly, you know, I think the most friendliest, how do you say it in English? The most friendly attitude you can have towards sentient beings is to give them the true Dharma, because the Dharma is the most supreme gift. And to correct wrong views and to teach the true teaching, that's the most friendliest attitude. You know, to teach incorrect Dharma is evil, is the attitude of an evil being, and is not friendly at all. But as I said, many confuse our attitude with being cult-like, while we are simply people who who are more organized and more disciplined in listening to the Dharma, not the noises of our unenlightened minds, not the noises produced by various worldly ideologies. See? Yes.
Thank you.
What did you want to say, Kosho? You wanted to say something?
No, thank you, Sensei. No, it's only that I found the passage that I was looking for, and I wanted to end this beautiful with this beautiful passage, and then I will go to the next topic because it's actually not so long. It says here, Shakyamuni Buddha speaking about precisely the our gratitude that we will have in Amida Buddha's Pure Land, and we will visit all of these Pure Lands in the 10 directions and make offerings to all the Buddhas there who led us to Amida Buddha. Because as Shinran Shonin says, and we will see it here in another passage, all the Buddha's purpose ultimate purpose is to lead us to Amida Buddha, because they know this is the most effective method, and this is the great vow of Amida Buddha is the most effective method and the most universal method to lead beings towards enlightenment. So naturally, as we will see, as we see in the 3 Pure Land Sutras, and especially in the larger sutra, all Buddhas in the 10 quarters praise Amida Buddha. So in former lives, Amida Buddha and all Buddhas have slowly taught us many lessons and many and have planted many karmic seeds within us for us to accept the primal vow. So there is a lot of work from all the Buddhas and from Amida Buddha himself in former lives for us to come to this moment in this precious human life to entrust ourselves to Amida Buddha finally, and then go to the Pure Land. So when we go there, since we will see all our former lives, we will see all of the noble and useful things that all the Buddhas have done for us in previous lives, and we will naturally be grateful towards Amida Buddha, of course, and towards all Buddhas in the 10 directions. So we see here, by the Buddha's power, bodhisattvas of that land go to innumerable worlds of the 10 directions in as short a time as it takes to eat a meal, in order to pay homage and make offerings to the Buddhas and world-honored ones. If those bodhisattvas so wish, countless and innumerable offerings such as flowers, incense, music, silken canopies, and banners spontaneously appear before them as soon as they are imagined. They are rare and marvelous, unlike anything in this world. They are accordingly offered to the assemblies of Buddhas, bodhisattvas, and Sravakas. The flowers remain in the sky and gather into canopies. Their brilliance is dazzling, and their fragrance pervades everywhere. The flower canopies range in size from those of 400 li in circumference up to those large enough to cover the universe of 1,000 million worlds. These bodhisattvas all rejoice together, and while poised in mid-air, play heavenly music and praise the virtues of the Buddhas with hymns accompanied by wonderful sounds. They listen to the Dharma and attain immeasurable joy. Okay, the passage goes on, but this is basically how we're talking about. It's very beautiful passage that mentions the gratitude towards all Buddhas. And as Shinran says, Shakyamuni and all other Buddhas are truly our compassionate father and mother. With various compassionate means, they lead us to awaken supreme Shinjin that is true and real. And of course, the true and fundamental intent for which all Buddhas, past, present, and future, as Shinran says, appear in this world, the reason all Buddhas appear in this world is solely to teach the inconceivable vow of Amida Buddha. All other methods that Buddhas teach is only a provisional methods for those who are not ready yet to entrust themselves to Amida Buddha. So having that in mind, when we go to the Pure Land, we will be grateful to all the Buddhas in the 10 directions for having helped us in receiving Shinjin and creating auspicious karmic connections with Buddhas, and especially with Amida Buddha and the primal vow. And we will, of course, work tirelessly, like Avalokiteshvara, Mahastama Prapta, and all of the great bodhisattvas, and Amida Buddha himself, in order to help all sentient beings to entrust themselves to him. Yes, and of course, for those who are not yet ready, we will teach other things. But especially, we will teach about Amida Buddha's primal vow, since this is what all Buddhas in the 10 directions do. Okay. I will now go to the following question, so that we can finish the topic for today. If you want.
Yes.
Let me here find the next topic of examination is the lifespan of Amida Buddha and the enlightened beings in his Pure Land according to the larger sutra. This can be found in page 301 in the
lifespan of Amida Buddha and of the enlightened beings in his Pure Land.
In his Pure Land. This will be
commentary of the 12th section. 12th section.
Section 12. Yes, indeed, Sensei. This would be on page 301. For those who studying along with me, will be section 12, the lifespan of Amida Buddha and of the enlightened beings in his Pure Land. So remember that the 12th vow talks about the infinite light of Amida Buddha, and the 13th vow talks about the infinite life. Yes. So here in this section, we see that Shakyamuni Buddha said to Ananda that the lifespan of Amitayus it is impossible to calculate. Yes, I will read a small section of this passage. It says here, the lifespan of Amida is so long that it is impossible for anyone to calculate. Yes, and goes on here in the larger sutra. Shakyamuni Buddha says, similarly, it is not to be encompassed. I mean, the Amida Buddha's light is not to be encompassed by any means of reckoning or by any metaphorical expression. The number of Sravakas and Bodhisattvas living there is also incalculable. They are fully endowed with transcendent wisdom and free in their exercise of majestic power. They could hold the entire world in their hands. Okay, so it means here that Amida Buddha's light is indeed omnipresent, that it cannot be even described. Okay, the eternal quality of Amida Buddha's light. The lifespan of Amitayus, expressed in the 13th vow, refers to Amida as a manifestation in his Pure Land for the sake of saving sentient beings. So you could say that Amida Buddha's 12th vow, the eternal light, is an expression in space. It's omnipresent in space. It covers all of the realms of samsara. Yes, and also the 13th vow speaks about the eternity of Amida Buddha's Sambhogakaya body in time. Okay. So Amida Buddha's Dharmakaya has no beginning and no end because it is uncreated and always existent. Okay. But the Sambhogakaya body of Amida Buddha has a beginning. When Amida Buddha became, well, Dharmakara Bodhisattva became Amida Buddha 10 kalpas ago, as it is explained in the larger sutra by Shakyamuni. Yes, so this is the starting point of Amida Buddha's Sambhogakaya. And this Sambhogakaya emits this great light that is inconceivable. And also this Sambhogakaya body will have no end. It has a beginning, but it has no end. Yes. And of course, the various Nirmanakaya bodies that are emanated from the Sambhogakaya, as we explained when we talked about the 3 Buddha bodies. So it's important for us to understand that Amida Buddha's lifespan is eternal. Yes, it is actually inconceivable. And this is also the case for all the Sambhogakaya bodies. But in the case of Amida Buddha, since this is the most effective method to bring sentient beings there, it is expressed in this way. And also the primal vow, since it can bring sentient beings from all corners of the universe to the Pure Land, regardless of their spiritual capacities. And this light of Amida Buddha covers all of the worlds at the same time. Whereas some Sambhogakaya bodies of other Buddhas only cover one world system or maybe 100, but that would still be few world systems, since the world systems in samsara are infinite. But in the case of Amida Buddha, there is no single world system that is not touched by Amida Buddha's light. And Amida Buddha's light, of course, as we explained in previous topics, is the primal vow. Yes, the primal vow of Amida Buddha is his light. Yes, when we hear the message of salvation of Amida Buddha, it is as if his light is knocking on the door of our hearts, let's say. And if we open it, then we receive Shinjin. Okay, that is the way we should understand Amida Buddha's light. The light of Amida Buddha, of course, is like a great magnet of Buddhic power, trying to take all beings to his Pure Land. And the most important or the principal way to bring sentient beings to his Pure Land is the primal vow. And of course, for those who are still not capable of entrusting to the primal vow, then there is the 20th and the 19th vow. But we will talk about that in another topic of examination, where we talk about the borderland and the 19th and the 20th vow. Okay, I think that ends the topic. I don't know if maybe Joshua Sensei or
one more thing.
Yes.
One more thing. We should remember always the 13th vow of Amida Buddha, in which he promises that his life would be infinite. And in that 13th vow, he says, if when I attain Buddhahood, my lifespan should be limited even to the extent of 100,000 kotis of nayutas of kalpas, may I not attain perfect enlightenment. As you see, he says that if his life would be limited, then you cannot call him a Buddha. So because his life is not limited, then it means it is boundless. It is infinite. That's very important. So there we have another, that is the 13th vow is the main proof from the sacred text, from the larger sutra, that the life of of Amida Buddha Sambhogakaya is infinite. So there will be no time when he will disappear from his Sambhogakaya form, transcendental form in his pure land. There will never be such a time. Yes. One more thing. Wait a second. So that is when he said, so even as he promised in his 13th vow, even 100,000 kotis of nayutas of kalpas is still limited time when measuring the lifespan of Amida. So this symbolical number is mentioned here to suggest the infinite and impossible to calculate life of Amida's transcendental Sambhogakaya body. And Amida says, if my life would be limited even to 100,000 kotis of nayutas of kalpas, then you cannot call me a Buddha. So his life is not limited by any number. Okay, that's very important to understand. Okay, so thank you, Kosho.
Yes, Sensei.
So next time we will talk about the primal vow of Amida Buddha, which we explain in very much detail in Amidaji branch of Jodo Shinshu. We do this because we consider it is very important. So we have to give to this vow one day, one meeting, so that we can discuss it fully. Okay.
Yes, thank you for that. Actually, I was about to tell you that because the primal vow is explained in one of your books in 100 pages. So I will have to summarize that in 2 hours. So maybe we can do it in one stage, or maybe even 2. Yes, who knows? Yeah, because it's very long.
This is how important, this is what importance we give to the primal vow in Amidaji branch of Jodo Shinshu, because we are the school of the primal vow. And there are many people nowadays who don't understand the primal vow, which is why we at Amidaji explain it in detail, word by word, sentence by sentence, so that we can be sure that everybody understands the primal vow. Okay.
Yes, indeed.
Even the word, even the word faith and trust to me, as Amida Buddha says, we explain it in 8 aspects, in 8 ways. It's very, we are so focused and dedicated to the primal vow. Okay.
Yes, this is in the book, The Meaning of Faith and Nembutsu in Jodo Shinshu Buddhism.
And it is also in the commentary on the larger sutra.
Ah, it's also, yes, it's also there.
And in the commentary on the larger sutra, I added a new passage from Honen.
Yes.
Okay, let's say a few Nembutsu to thank Amida Buddha for this wonderful Dharma meeting. Namo Amida Buddha, 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 Namo Amida Buddha. And I may say that may all sentient beings receive the merits of Amida Buddha, make indestructible connections with him, have faith in him, say his name, and wish to be born in his pure land. Namo Amida
Butsu. Sensei.
See you guys. Thank you very much.
Nice to see you all again.
Thank you for
See
coming.
you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.